Hey buddy, it's Mike here. Today I'm really excited to review one of the most anticipated games of 2023. Yes, that's Diablo 4. And as someone who's been playing Diablo games pretty much my whole life, I've played Diablo 1, got really into Diablo 2, played 3, so I know what I'm looking for in a Diablo game. And I played other ARPGs such as Path of Exile, but there are very few ARPGs can really hook you in like a Diablo game can. This review is going to be more so for your casual, semi-casual type gamer. I feel like your pro gamer is already going to be playing this and they already have it, so I don't need to convince you to buy it. But I'm more so going to go into an overview of the different classes, some new features, and some of the endgame content. And ultimately to answer the big question if it's really worth your money. That's what we do here at this channel. Being the huge nerd that I am, I had to buy it on both PS5 and computer. And so I have a really good idea of not only a recommendation if you buy Diablo 4, but whether you should buy it on console or if you're better off just playing on the good old computer. Now, one of the first things you're going to notice about Diablo 4 is its atmosphere. So unlike Diablo 3, which had a very bright, power fantasy kind of vibe to it, this is very dark, and you're going to really get this sense of hopelessness in this world as humanity is on its knees to these demons and they're just taking over. So really like that dark atmosphere. They're almost going back to more of a Diablo 2 type feel. It's also important to mention that they changed the whole Diablo formula, so they're going to the whole open world approach. So now you'll find other players, find them encountering different world events, and this is much different from before. Before you would have to join, a game and a different party through the menu. Now you just run into other players in the open world. I still don't know how I feel about this, to be honest, but I'm enjoying it so far. It's a pleasant surprise to do some quests and then run into other players. So I had a lot of fun with that. But something about me, I like the ability to go in my menu and just join a party that way. I'm sure they'll include this feature later on, but just my thought on that. Diablo 4 brings a host of new changes, such as PvP zones, so players can actually encounter other players, combat against each other, and this is actually separate from the main open world environment, and this provides a more competitive experience. And I really like the idea of shared world events. Right, it creates a community, encourages cooperation. You can easy to make different friends and just you'll be having trouble with a boss, and then thank goodness another player will come by and help you. There's little things like that that really improve the quality of life overall. Now, don't be fooled by that opening cutscene, which is awesome, man. When I was watching that, I'm like, this is the Diablo game that has a storyline that really shines. That didn't quite pan out. I wasn't really impressed by the storyline. Now, I can definitely say it's an improvement from the other Diablo games. However, I still found myself skipping dialogue and just not getting that involved in the story to begin with. But it's definitely an improvement. And you can now respec your build on the fly at any time, and I really like the freedom of doing that, because you'll find yourself switching between different builds, depending. You'll pick up an item, it'll encourage you to switch up your build. The only thing, it does come at a cost, and it can be costly at certain higher levels. Now let's get into the classes. In Diablo 4, you have 5 different classes, starting with the Barbarian. It's your melee powerhouse known for their brute strength and close quarters combat. They kind of excel in dealing massive damage and having high survivability, and kind of acts like a tank class. If you're looking for that typical hack and slash type class, barbs are definitely the way to go. They can also wield two-handed weapons or dual-wield weapons, and they have a lot of useful skills that help you control the battlefield and unleash devastating attacks. And then you got the Sorceress. This is the class that I'm currently playing, and I'm having a lot of fun with it. So Sorceresses kind of use elemental magic. They use fire, ice, and lightning, and they just obliterate enemies. I'm telling you, they have a wide range of spells, and they can do devastating area of effect attacks. Now, one thing about Sorcs is they're very fragile, but they deal a lot of damage. They're known as like a glass cannon type class, kind of a high risk, high reward. So definitely my type of playstyle. I'm having a lot of fun using an Ice Shard build. Then you have the Druid, one of my favorite classes as well, because it's kind of like a hybrid. So you have melee options and you also have ranged options. So like a werewolf or a werebear, and this allows them to switch between the two. Druids also have nature-based spells and abilities that can summon creatures, control elements, and even heal themselves. And they're capable of adapting to various different situations and playstyles. Lots of fun. I definitely recommend trying out the Druid class. Now, a class I haven't got to try, but I know they're a lot of fun. They kind of use speed and agility is the rogue. So these are kind of masters of stealth. They use a variety of weapons like bows, crossbows, throwing knives, and they have skills that enhance their mobility, evasion, and critical strikes. You know, rogues are really good at eliminating enemies from a distance while maintaining their own survivability. Very fun class. So last but certainly not least, we have the Necromancer. I'm definitely going to try this out in my next playthrough. So Necromancers actually use dark magic. They can summon undead armies, and the cool thing, and I really like where Blizzard went with this, is Necromancers can actually customize their armies. So for example, you know, you can turn your warriors into more of a damage dealing version, or but this comes at expense to your health pool. So it's really cool how you can customize that, and I'm really going to have fun trying out the Necromancer on my next playthrough. And I think they did a great job in the classes, because each class feels so different, and there's so much variety in each class and different diverse builds. You can pick up a legendary weapon, and that will cause you to respec into something totally different. And I enjoy that. So the main quest line will run you around 35 hours, and after that you get the end game. And let me tell you, there's tons to do in the end game, starting off with your nightmare dungeons. So nightmare dungeons are typically your regular dungeons, but harder versions of them, and you unlock different tiers as you progress. And the max level is level 100, and it's going to take you quite the grind to get to level 100. So take your time with that and enjoy it. Unlike Diablo 3, the Paragon points you earn in Diablo 4 are not infinite. Instead, players will unlock the Paragon board at level 50, and players will earn 1 Paragon point for every 25% of a level. Now, each region has different renown you get for doing different quests, and if you max that area's renown, you'll get 4 Paragon points. And there's also some Altar of Lilith that actually give you Paragon points as well. The Paragon points cap in Diablo 4 is currently 224. So you got hours of grinding and different side content to complete in the endgame. Then you also have capstone dungeons. So these are essentially just giant dungeons that you can take on at the late game. You do have to be at least at world tier 2. After you defeat these capstone dungeons, you actually unlock a new world tier, which is essentially just a difficulty level. And this tweaks how tough enemies are and what kinds of loot and rewards you can get while you're playing. Currently there are 4 world tiers: Adventurer, Veteran, Nightmare, and Torment. Now, unlike any other Diablo game, I feel like Diablo 4 really nailed the PvP in the form of the Fields of Hatred. So these are open world areas, and players can really enter these at any time, and they can engage in PvP against other players. And the cool thing is, you can collect shards of hatred from defeating other characters and from killing monsters in the zone, and these shards of hatred can be used to get loot from special vendors. Now the PvP in this game does have a little twist, and it's called the Curse of Mephisto. So if a player kills other players, you know, they keep collecting shards, and you kill enough players, you become the Vessel of Hatred. So when this happens, everyone within your radius will be made aware of your location, and if another player kills you, the Vessel of Hatred, they will get a bonus. However, if the Vessel of Hatred stays alive within the area, they'll get a large bonus at the end of the event. And the risk-reward aspect of this just makes it very exciting and very intense. It's almost like King of the Hill, but Diablo. You're going to have a lot of fun with this. And another great piece of content that will keep you going in the Diablo 4 endgame is the Tree of Whisperers. So this essentially Tree of Whisperers works in the same way as bounties would work in Diablo 3. So you complete these, and then you get something called Grim Favors, which you can use to unlock different items from the vendor. Now, once you complete the Cathedral of Light capstone dungeon, when you switch to World Tier 3, you can actually compete in something called the Helltide event. Now, these Helltide events actually occur periodically. It's usually every other hour, but the event itself takes an hour. And this event will take place anywhere in the map. It's very random. It can occur in the game's any of the 5 regions. The only place you won't see these take place are the PvP zones and the Tree of Whispers area. Now, the goal of these Helltide events is to defeat as many enemies as possible within this hour, so you can amass a currency called Aberrant Cinders. It's very important to keep in mind that you use your Aberrant Cinders before the Helltide event ends. So you can exchange the currency for different rewards, and this is done through these demonic chests called tortured gifts. Now, another thing to mention about these Helltide events is that there will be these special elites called Helltide Commanders. And these not only drop a bunch of aberrant cinders, but they drop high-end materials such as Fiend Rose and Forgotten Souls. Now, one last thing I want to talk about the endgame is the world bosses. So currently there's 3, but I definitely see this number increasing as time goes on. So these are essentially raid bosses, and you have up to 12 players can join in on these world boss fights at once, and the bigger the team, you know, the better your chances. The thing is, you only have 15 minutes to slay the boss. Defeating these bosses will give you great rewards, some of the best in the game. The golden XP will also be scaled at your level, and the drops will also be dependent on the world tier you're currently playing in. You can expect these world bosses to drop legendary and unique items. Alright, so this game pretty much has something for everyone. You know, whether you like dungeons, exploring the open world, or intense PvP, this game's endgame will have you covered. Another great new feature and a first in a Diablo game is the added mounts to the game. So that's really cool, and you can get around more quickly. It just, you kind of have to wait till the late game, or you actually have to spend money to get one. Blizzard's really going to be pushing that seasonal content, so this is basically where you create a fresh character, and in these seasons you can get unique items for these characters, and after the season ends you can actually still keep your character. However, some of the benefits from the season will end. Now, one thing I love about Diablo 4 is the items, and you know, just like every other Diablo game, you got your different types of common, magical, and rare items, from unique and set items. There are some item bonuses that aren't as good, such as elemental resistance. Right now they need to be nerfed. They're very weak, and they're not working as they're supposed to. However, I do see them fixing this in due time, especially as we go into higher world tiers. And these items offer a lot in terms of replay value. You're going to continue looking for that better legendary. You're going to continue looking for that set piece, and you're going to continue growing as you invest your time in it, and that's what makes these games so darn addicting. And Diablo 4 is definitely no different. In terms of progression, the game is quite the grind, like you'd expect from any Diablo game. However, the skill tree is engaging enough and you're going to have a good experience. During the grind, you're busy making decisions on how you want to build your character, so this definitely helps improve the experience. Now, if you ask me personally whether I'd prefer Diablo 4 on the PC or PS5, I'm going to be straightforward. You're going to want to play this game on PC, and that's just me being kind of an old school guy. Always play these on PC. That being said, you might find yourself using a controller is much more intuitive for Diablo 4. Things like the wheel menu and the map screen seem much more appropriate for a controller. However, a console will not even come close to how a high-end gaming PC will deliver this game. The crisp image from the graphical fidelity, you'll get the best possible experience if you have a very good PC. However, if you don't have tons of money to blow on a gaming PC, just get it on console. Just a lot more to Diablo 4. This review is only like 15 minutes, but I only feel like I scratched the surface here. There's just so much content to get engaged with, and anyone's going to have a great time with this. Now, is Diablo 4 perfect? Heck no. There's a lot of room for improvement. There's a lot of things they're working on right now. I feel like Blizzard's at a point of experimentation where they're trying out different things and finding that sweet spot. But I'm really happy with this, and I'm enjoying the open world aspect. And I think you're going to enjoy this too. That's why I can easily recommend this to any other casual gamer, and I'm going to give this a 9 out of 10. If you like this type of review, I highly consider you checking out my channel, and if you like my content, please subscribe. We'll see you on the next one. Bye.